Welcome to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. The official podcast of the Diablo Valley College Alumni Association. As we celebrate 75 years of DVC's impact on education, careers, and community, we're honored to share the incredible journeys of alumni who've transformed their time on our vibrant campus into meaningful careers, community contributions, and personal success. Each Tuesday, we spotlight DVC alumni, from first-generation graduates to entrepreneurs, educators, and leaders who share the triumphs, challenges, and pivotal moments that shaped their lives. And on Thursdays, it's Resource Thursday. We dive into the programs, departments, and services that make DVC the supportive, dynamic community it is, exploring how they serve students and how you can connect with them. Whether you're a current student, recent graduate, or longtime alum, join us as we honor DVC's legacy and discover how our past continues to inspire the future. Thank you for being part of this journey. Be sure to tune in, subscribe, and celebrate with us. DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. And now, join our host, Alumni Manager, Charlie Daly.
And we are live. So this is a Resource Thursday podcast. So I'm going to start by having you guys introduce yourselves. So take it away.
So hi, thank you so much for having us here today. We are here from the Workforce Development Office here at DVC, and we're so excited to be here to introduce ourselves and to also talk about the resources and what we do here at DVC. So just to let you know who I am.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your name?
Yeah, my name is Teresa Hade, and I am a senior program coordinator for the Workforce Development Office. I've been with DVC now for about a little bit over a year. But I actually spent the last 17 years of my experience working in the county, working in Health and Human Services.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, working in that type of environment, I was working in social work. I eventually started working with our clients to help them with their education. And that's how I kind of transitioned to work with them for their careers, and then eventually doing academic planning. So I worked a lot with the EOPS office while I was at the county. So when this opportunity came to work here at DVC, to work with employers and also with our students, it was just a really good fit for me. So I know today we're talking a little bit about what we do and internships, and I just wanted to let you know that my career actually started with an internship.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yes. So when I was in my senior year, when I was getting my bachelor's degree, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, actually. So I decided, okay, maybe ethnic studies, because I loved working with, I love people. I knew I liked helping, but I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So as part of my, in order to get my degree, for ethnic studies, we had to do a community project. So anything to do with, helping the community. So what I did is I was going to go to our local middle school and to do like some outreach or do anything to do with community. And it turns out that a counselor was there listening to me when I was there. And she said, hey, we have students that are not doing well. We're trying to do like an intervention. It would be great if you could talk to them, being that you're a college student. And that's how my journey into counseling began. So I loved it. It just was something that was very easy for me. And so because I had that experience, that's what made me want to continue on and have my master's in counseling because of that. And
where did you go to school?
So I went for my undergraduate at Sac State. And then for my master's,
Go Bees.
Yeah. Hornets.
Go Hornets.
Hornets.
I'm sorry.
Go Hornets.
I'm sorry.
Hornets.
I know my buddy Scott Beisner is going to kill me, but anyways.
No, it's the Hornets.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't remember.
No.
So,
but I had to work while I was after I got my undergraduate degree. So while I was starting my career in the county, I went to Capella University actually, so I could work full time and go to school full time. So it's just that was what I wanted to do because of my internship.
that's probably a lot of people here at DVC. So
yes,
yeah. So let's find out about. Go ahead.
Hi. Also really excited to be here. My name is Rachelle Rivers. I've been with, I'm also a senior program coordinator. I work very closely with Teresa and everybody else on the team. It's been a wonderful environment. Everybody is just so gung-ho about getting people, employed gainfully and just in something that, is going to help them be fulfilled and also pay the bills because that also matters.
Well, like I was saying a minute ago, that's a lot of the people that go here is, we don't have on-campus housing because of that. It's just everybody's coming from somewhere, and a lot of them got jobs or got to have jobs.
Exactly. And even during my college career, I always had at least 2, sometimes 3 jobs to put myself through. So I'm very familiar with having to juggle that sort of a thing. And I do remember a lot of times during my college jobs, a majority of which was waitressing, was, gosh, I can't wait to get my degree. Not that there's anything wrong with waitressing or serving, etc., but I knew that was not what was going to work for me long term. I was looking for something else. I'm grateful it got me through college, but I was very ready to hang up my apron when it was time. I've actually been with DVC a little bit less than a year, and as I mentioned, I was in serving and I started in food service. And since we're talking a little bit about internships, I was one of those college students that was so focused on just working, getting through, treating it like an end goal. I never looked into or had any internships at all in my field. So I graduated with a bright, shiny new degree. I actually double majored and had absolutely no prospects. I ended up working my college job, quote unquote, for another 2 years until I managed to secure a position somewhere else. And it happened very serendipitously. It was one of my tables.
Oh.
He happened to, for whatever reason, was impressed with the way I was handling things and taking care of them, that he said, hey, we're looking for people. Come on in for an interview.
Wow.
And that was what springboarded me from leaving from food service into essentially the office. And through my career, as I was looking for other ways of growing and getting, bigger and better, I ended up in working for residential and dining enterprises at a really big private school. And it was the perfect match made at the time. I had all this food service background, but I wasn't necessarily interested in staying in that particular realm forever. But I found this wonderful match where I was able to take those skills, what I had learned in college, and bring it all forward. And I did very well there. It was wonderful. And that's where I started gaining a passion for working with students, working with college students and helping them find those next steps. I remember so many times through my career that I just could have used a helping hand, a hint, something. Mm-hmm. And so I never wanted anybody to have to go through anything like that again. And so this is something where I fell into, and now I'm working directly in workforce, helping students get and answer those questions, bringing them access to resources, making connections to hopefully get them into that place. So, they're not where I was 2 years and still in my college job, post-degree, wondering what in the world, how am I going to bridge this gap?
So where did you go to college?
So I went to college in lots of different places.
Okay.
I started off at San Jose State. I transferred to Sacramento State. Unfortunately, Teresa and I never met. I think we went at different times. And then later on, I graduated there with a degree in both theater arts and English. And then later on, after I kind of fell in love with higher education, I went back and I got a master's in higher education. I got that at Central Washington State University because it was the only place that I saw that had the exact degree I was looking for. Everything was totally online. And by then, I was full-time worker, I was a parent, and I needed that flexibility. So it was And then, of course, because it's not ambitious enough, I also had another baby in the middle of that program. So I feel, and I was very grateful to have the flexibility that I had, that I absolutely needed in order to get into my educational success where I am now. So,
Well, and you both brought up a good point. I believe that everybody should serve in some capacity early in their career. I mean, especially like wait tables or work with, challenged students or something of that nature. Because the thing is one, it teaches you skills that you're not going to get in any classroom. Period. You're never going to find out how to deal with people by working on something like that. So it's like, I think, a very important job skill. So tell us about your path to get to DVC, and then we'll get back to what workforce does. So I get so excited about just, how'd you get here? Oh my God.
well, let's see. For me, I had spent, I had spent about 9 years at the private college when I personally felt I'd hit a bit of a ceiling, especially in food service. If your path is not necessarily there to oversee, dining halls, or you're not a dietitian, you're not a chef, you do have to forge your own way, which, wasn't unacceptable to me, but the path that was being laid out wasn't quite the one I wanted to follow. And so I jumped into the community college system. I spent about a year in a community college in Santa Clara, and where I was very close in working with apprenticeship programs. I was really grateful to learn a whole bunch about that system and what an amazing opportunity it can be to link employers and community colleges, especially. It's huge. So I'm a huge advocate of it. It's a big lift, but it's so worth it. And during my time at the private school, I had created and ran my own internship programs, bringing students together with people in their fields. So people that were interested in culinary, I would connect them with chefs. People that were interested in sustainability, I'd connect them with our sustainability experts that we had, and just so on. These were folks that were really hoping to change the world based on our food system and the giant economy that is behind it, and how these major decisions impact even the environment on a global scale. It's huge. And so I was so privileged to be able to work with, these students, and I just felt this passion absolutely ignite, and I couldn't wait to take this as far and as fast as I possibly could. And so working with internships and apprenticeships and moving myself, when the opportunity arose to come to DVC, I jumped at it immediately. So my family and I had actually been coming out here for several years. We had been quietly falling in love with the area and wondering, oh my gosh, is there ever going to be a time where we can even move closer to here and be a part of this? And so when the opportunity I saw arrive, I jumped at it, and as far as application processes go, you never know if it's going to be you that eventually comes through. But yeah. I was so fortunate, and I felt so blessed to be able to come here in this area and work with everybody around me and serve our students.
So Teresa,
Yes.
How did you grow up around here in this part of the Bay Area in Contra Costa County?
No, actually, originally I'm from back east, so I was born in New Jersey.
Okay,
Again,
I was going to let's get specific because
yeah. But I actually moved to Vacaville.
Okay.
Yes, so I grew up in Vacaville.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know a little bit about the East Bay, because I did some work here in the East Bay as well with the county.
And then how did you end up here at DVC?
So I actually worked for a couple of different counties. So my last county I worked with was Marin County. So I, the commute from Solano County to Marin is just awful. And so I knew that I loved, because I was working with the community college, I was there, and I was looking for something closer. And so, when the position came open, I saw at DVC, I was like, I'm just going to go for it. Working at the college, that the community college for me was the best, because you work with so many different types of students. So I was very adamant to get into a community college, and the fact that it was close to home, and it was in a workforce development position. it's just, I guess, all the stars aligned. As I don't know how to say. Sometimes job search can be, luck too sometimes, but I feel very blessed and fortunate to be given this opportunity. And so both Rachelle and I, we're very passionate about what we do. We want to work with employers and the students. And so, that's why we're glad to be here and talk to your listeners today.
Yeah, and one of the things that it just kind of comes away with, and this has always been my belief, is I love it's a sales thing, because I've been in sales for way longer than I care to admit, but it's the answer to the unasked question is always no. So it's kind of like when you're job hunting, throw your hat in the ring. The worst thing that can happen is they say no or they don't anything, and it's like, that was your story. That's, Rachelle, that's your story. That's Teresa, that's your story. Is really at the end of the day, you just took a gamble. Hey, I'll give it a whirl. What's the worst thing that can happen? And it all worked out. That's always the upside. But there's, you got to be tough enough to realize it doesn't always going to say something. So
exactly. And I tell all of the students and even close friends, family members, whoever I get across, if they're in the middle of a career transition or they're looking into something else, and they say, I found this amazing opportunity, but I don't know, is my background quite right? Or is it this? Is it that? The first thing I always say is, look, if it looks like a good enough fit, don't tell yourself no. Let them tell you no.
Yes.
If you tell yourself no, it's never going to go any further.
Yeah.
So try anyway.
Okay.
So I think for me, I had a little bit of a fear,
We all do.
because I was making a transition from health and social services, and I was making the jump to higher education. And so,
and by the way, that's not an insignificant leap. That's not just I'll just go next door.
Exactly. But for me, I kind of thought, oh no, did you have to have a lot of, higher education? Should I have already been doing my experience there? But, when I went into the interview, what I do and what I tell my clients and students is that show how much you are excited to be here. And so I said to myself, okay, if I'm up against another candidate that has the experience here and, was looking to transfer. But for me, I was coming here with more of I'm very excited. I have a different set of skill sets that, I can bring. I kept on saying just, this has been a dream of mine to work at the college. I have some experience, but, it's just that I have a passion. This is my passion.
I actually got a job. This is more than 20 years ago. One of my most favorite jobs I've ever had in my life. I was not as qualified as somebody else they were looking at, but because I walked in the door and I was just like, I get to do this. I want to do this. I was just super. And, and they did not regret it, but it was like one of those things where I think when they first hired me, because I wasn't going to do the conventional thing, and they kind of, So, all right. So we're having fun.
I just would like to say one more thing too, is that it's not just about, yes, you can bring your passion, but it's also about what kind of, what's your attitude like when you're on, an interview?
Yeah.
Do they think you're going to be a good
fit.
A good fit with the company? So maybe you might have not as much experience, but you're bringing in, I'm open to learning. And you have the attitude is great because you're there to learn and to, just be an addition.
Cool. Yeah. See, we really need more microphones. I know.
That's perfectly okay. And the other thing that I would just like to say as well is, yes, of course, have your passion, show up with enthusiasm and excitement about the position and, wanting to do the work. That's one thing. But I think speaking as somebody with a theater degree that did not go into the theater business necessarily, it's also so important to talk about transferable skills. Even though on paper, I may not look like the ideal candidate, let me tell you how I am the ideal candidate with what I learned in this field that you might not have considered.
Yeah. So I hear a whole new other version podcast that's going to be a little bit different than what we're completely off track. But I love this content, and I think we're going to have to explore this at some point another time, because this is like, for me, it's a skill set that often isn't really taught to young job seekers. It's kind of like they'll see a 2-minute YouTube video and it says, oh, bring your passion. And it's like, no, you need to be a little more focused than that. You need to explain to them why it is that you're passion specifically is going to help them, And I think the other thing too is being listening. You gotta come in and ask open-ended questions when they're interviewing you. It's like answer their question, then tell me about what does a project look like or anyways. Go ahead. This is fun, isn't it?
I just would like to add one more thing for your listeners.
Whoa.
One more thing for your. Always research the company that you are interviewing for, because that can also help you when you are in your interview, because you can say, hey, I know that, you're looking for someone who's this. I see that some current projects you're working on or things that you've done, and this is how I can contribute. So that's another thing too. Don't go in there just, not knowing who you're interviewing for.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I tell people when you're doing when you're getting ready to go to a mixer or something like that, it's like always do your research. LinkedIn is your friend. So let me turn that off. All right. Anyways, so tell us about workforce. Because here's the thing is like I've got some ideas of what workforce does and what they're responsible for. When I was a Chamber of Commerce guy, I had no idea other than there were meetings,
There are a lot of those. You're not.
I know.
You're not wrong.
I know, but it's like let's look at it like resources. So and you two work mostly with small businesses and businesses in general looking for internships and things of that nature. Is that right?
Yes, but there's a little bit more. We also try to arrange things like, organizational tours, like factory tours, or potentially bringing in employers from offsite into the classroom to talk about them, not just at job fairs where there's often this feel of everybody's got to hit every single table, but you're not really reading anything that you're quite handed yet. You sort of filter through it later.
It's the worst mixing experience for a mixer that ever, job fairs are. It just is awful.
It can't, and it's true. There are some challenges. It can be helpful.
Yes.
But there's something about being able to talk to a representative from an organization, especially maybe a mid to a top, and just to talk to our students about what it's really like to work here. What are we actually looking for? And to help give you that insight into maybe how do I make my application look a little bit brighter than that? Because at the end of the day, we are all unfortunately competing for these for these amazing positions. And so we're looking at every advantage that we can possibly have to help get us to stand out just a little bit more. So we work primarily with career education students. And I know that you hear the terms workforce, career education.
Well, yeah, I was going to go. Let's talk about what does that mean? Because that's the thing. Yeah. So let's talk about that.
You are not wrong. There is lots of confusion in and outs unless you happen to be in it.
Yes.
So career education and career technical education, they can be interchangeable, but not always, since that technical aspect usually means something more on the technical side, like you're learning a specific skill. When career education really means, at least for us at DVC, these are programs that take 2 years or less to get somebody into a job. And that means you're sort of getting what I like to call sort of the meat and potatoes of a degree. Those are the certificate programs that we offer to help straight shoot this person to get the exact skills that we're looking for.
So like what kind of jobs? I mean, just a couple of, I know I'm like, I promised there weren't going to be any got you questions, but I know I tend to get a little bit on the specifics.
No, it's okay.
Just a couple,
There are a lot of jobs to choose from, to be honest, because at DVC we have 27 different career education programs, and all of them have multiple degrees and certificates available under that. So just administration of justice, for example. We have certificates for police. We have certificates for career investigation, forensics, things like that. So, and that's just one. In, technical, for theater, we have a technical theater program, learning how to do, set design and learning how to do makeup, things, the technical side of things, not necessarily the performance base. So it really depends. There's a wide variety. We have art, digital media, where you can learn animation skills, you learn some media skills. There's so much that it's hard to pinpoint exactly one, which also is why there are 2 senior program coordinators on here, because this would be so much to manage by yourself. And so we split the load so that we can give that much more attention to our programs and to our wonderful faculty who are so passionate.
Yes.
And they want their student success so much. And so they love partnering with us so that we can both band together and get these students into that successful position together. And that's
Right.
what we're here for.
I think one of the things we're going to do, because and again, I'll stop and ask questions because these are things like, I don't know. And I'm going to assume anybody outside of, the institution probably, and probably even people here don't know. And it's not other than it's, you hear something, you kind of go, oh, that's great. And then you kind of move on mentally. And we're humans. This is what we do. But I think first of all, it's like, I didn't realize that we had 27 programs like that. Each one has got, a handful of certificates in pathways to employment and career, I should say. I'm not going to say employment. I'm going to say careers because that's
the intent.
Yeah. And so so we're probably talking, close to, 100 plus career paths.
Yes.
Out of this. And so I think what we're going to do is in the program, one of the things we're going to do is any information we can make available are going to be in the program notes. So we're going to put that into our podcast too, and also on LinkedIn.
100%.
So, yes.
Yes. So I would just like to add, as part of workforce development, we actually have program coordinators who work directly with our students. So they are there to help with resume writing, interviewing skills. They are able to go directly into our career education classes and offer direct services. So those services are always available to our students. But at DVC, our career education programs, what Rachelle and I do is we actually bring industry to us. So all of those 27 departments each have an advisory board. So every semester, each of those programs, we have a meeting with our faculty, the dean, and we're actually recruiting employers.
Excuse me.
No, it's okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
We actually have, each of them have an advisory board made up of industry partners, in that industry. So for administration of justice.
You were not lying when you talked about all the meetings you guys got.
Yes.
So,
yes.
okay.
So there's 27 meetings every semester, plus the meetings that we're having with our departments alone and any special projects that we have. So what we do is when we meet, we're going over curriculum, industry is supposed to be telling us how we're developing our curriculum because we want the feedback. Like I remember I do the computer science, computer network technology programs, we are, I remember there was, they had to bring in Python as a program because they're like, employers are saying, we need that with that skill. We need to have that from your students. So that's how we're developing our curriculums. We're trying to stay up to date so that when our students are graduating, they're coming out with the relevant skills that are needed in industry right now. Because, and I don't know if you could see a lot of, employers are looking for not just the education. They're also looking for the real world experience as well. So the internships, the relevant, work skills that we're teaching, it puts our students at such a better position when they're starting to look for employment.
Cool. Hang on 1 minute.
Oh, there's some water.
Exactly.
It's okay. He's okay. It's the worst time to want a coughing fit.
I was like, oh no. So I was like, coffee.
There we go. We'll get it.
So since we stopped, are we okay with time and okay?
Oh yeah, we're doing great. I was just taking a look. We're good.
All right. So.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah. So, okay. So, imagine for a moment we're back on. We're back.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. We'll probably. So imagine for a moment, I'm an industry person because you guys deal mostly with the employers, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So talk to me a little bit about what you guys are looking for. How employers, like what kind of employers you're looking for in career opportunities, and then how they could get a hold of you.
couple of ways that employers work with us. There are some employers that come to us because they want to, either post a job or an internship opportunity to our students. So they'll come to us and we can help them with that. For our employers, we do have our own online job platform where they can go and post jobs and they go to just our students. It's called Handshake. And so, employers can, that's a lot of times employers do contact us is because they want to post jobs to our students. Other times, we are, maybe even reaching out to employers because each of those 27 departments, there's certain skill sets that we're looking for. So we have a GIS program, and with drone technology. And so we're looking for, GIS professionals or people who are doing the drones to kind of get that information. So we might be reaching out to them, but they might be reaching out to us as well. And so we're really trying to, and that's what our job is to bring the industry to us, so that we could, better partner with them. And like Rachelle was saying, like we want to do tours or maybe have a classroom speaker. We have a community health worker program as well. And next month we're doing an internship fair.
Oh,
Yeah. So we're doing just for our CHW students. So right now I'm currently recruiting, for employers in this area to come and to, talk to our students about, maybe an internship or even a career. So our workforce is not just, we're actually helping industry as well because we're providing them with qualified applicants for their positions. And it's better for them as well. And if we do an internship process, then it even helps to kind of take away that initial kind of, that's when employers do take the risk when they hire an applicant is you're kind of putting in more money, you're hoping to get that return on investment. And that's what internships are great for because could be that you're in the process of doing the internship and you're seeing how a student is, maybe you like them and you want to kind of develop apprenticeship programs as well. And so we're really kind of giving employers that opportunity to get these great job applicants. So it helps.
Gives them a chance to test drive them a little bit,
yes.
find out if it's a good fit, find out if they have the skill set they need.
Or help improve them as well.
Right.
And most of our employers, actually, Charlie, are DVC alumni.
Okay.
And so, exactly. And so a lot of our employers want to help the other DVC students because, like I can tell you, one of the employers that I work with, he came to DVC. He didn't know what he wanted to do, but he had a great experience with his program. And so he wants to give back. So he reached out to us. He goes, I have, now that I'm a recruiter, I want to be able to give other DVC students that same opportunity. So, it's great because our employers actually want to work with students. They love mentoring. And it's so nice to work with these employers because they, the ones who partner with us, they're the ones who want to give the most back to students. And so they see it as a great opportunity. Our students, and the thing is that workforce development, it's a mutual relationship. We're both benefiting. Like our students are getting that opportunity that they might not get, but then our employers are also getting, an opportunity to get, test drive. I wouldn't say test, but they give an opportunity to work with students and to kind of improve their skills. So it's a mutual benefit.
Well, and it's almost like the alumni from DVC already know what a spectacular education they get here. I mean, we've got such an incredible transfer rate to the UC systems. But I also know that they're, we are one of the larger community colleges and, the largest, I think, in the Bay Area and one of the larger ones, certainly in Northern California. We get, 19,000 students a semester. Yeah. So there's certainly a lot of opportunities. Yeah. And we've been around for 75 years.
Exactly. And not only that, because of the community college has such a diversity of students here, we're not just dealing with students that are coming right out of high school.
Yes.
We also have adult learners. So we have the certificate programs that Rachelle was talking about that are more the meat and potatoes so that, okay, maybe you're working in industry, you're working, you need something for a job promotion or something, so you can come to our school and get the certificate that you need to, promote or to apply or to push you to push you into or to make a career change. So we, everybody is welcome to come here at DVC and to take advantage of these career education programs, because we reach such a wide variety of students.
And the other thing I wanted to bring up is that the other thing our department does is we will also work with employers to create an internship that might not even already be available.
Okay.
I know a lot of employers have some reservations, perhaps some caution about opening up something like that, but it's not as heavy of a lift as, say, like an apprenticeship program that requires, state registration and all kinds of different things, et cetera. But for an internship, what I say, the meat and potatoes of that one really is it has a start date and an end date. You have a job description and you have learning objectives, because we want to make sure that our students are working in that organization, actually getting some of those job skills that they can put on a resume and take out. Like, for example, an accounting person is learning how to run their software, or they're learning how to, set a timeline in order to do XYZ. And we can work with employers to figure out, okay, well, what is it you're able to teach, as well as working with other potential interns who are interested? What do you want to learn when you want to go to this place? What is it you're hoping to take out of that? And it's a collaborative environment to help get that started. And it can be an amazing opportunity for our students to be able to be the first in doing that, and then hopefully create that revolving door of, here's someone in who's coming through. It's a wonderful way to give back. And it's a wonderful way to really jumpstart somebody else's career, which is huge.
Well, and I know one of the things is, if I'm a small business owner, it's like, if I think, internship, I don't know what's entailed. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of work. I'm good. But in reality, it sounds to me more like it's an opportunity. One, I would look at it as an opportunity to examine how I do things, because you're going to have to tell somebody how you do it. And it just can't, and that's the way you also as a business evolve. You can't just be married to whatever you've got as your process, because, it's like Sears and Roebuck and J.C. Penney and all those guys have done that. And you look where they are, along with Montgomery Wards. So,
and I remember they used to be big players.
They were kings of the hill, and, Wards is gone, and J.C. Penney's and Sears are hanging on by a bare thread. But I know as a small business, sometimes it can be daunting to look at doing another thing, but it doesn't sound like it's really that big of a lift. And it's an opportunity to have more arms and legs come in to be able to help you out with your business and kind of increase your efficiencies.
Especially if you're looking to try something new. Let's say you really want to kick off your social media to try to drive more customers to your business. That's a great opportunity to bring in an intern. If you're trying to maybe branch out into something else and you need someone to look into that for you, to do a little bit of research, how does this, show me the comparison, show me something like that. That would be also a great opportunity. If you've got enough room in the budget to bring in a part-time employee, because often too, internships, unless they're, real big summer ones, for example, that's a full-time situation. A lot of internships are a few hours here and there a week. And that's the beauty of them. You can structure them how you can. If you can only afford 4 hours a week, let's say, on what project you want, then that's where we set the internship at. And that is something that our office can absolutely help with, is let's help you structure this so it's in no way a burden. It's more of a boon. Let's not make it so it's, again, another thing to do. It's actually something that's going to be beneficial to both parties as much as possible.
Had not even thought about that. The idea of I have a research, I've had this idea in my head of doing blah, 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 but I just don't have the time. You could farm it out, and it would be something. One, you're going to get the benefit of whatever research project that you learn whether it's a yay or nay on it. But the other thing too is you establish a relationship with some person who maybe you hire later on or something like that.
And that's the whole thing, is that you're establishing that network, that connection. A lot of our students, they might even have an intern or an employer that they want to work with, or that they are working with already. And the important thing too, to remind our students who are listening, is that you can get credit for the work experience as well. So if you are currently working in your field, or if you're looking for an internship in your field, we have the work experience classes that are actually run through our department. So based on how many hours that you work, there's a certain number of credits that you're given, so I can't remember off the top of my head, but you can get like 2 or 3 units based on your work experience. I think it's about 12 hours. There's different I guess guidelines for each unit, but that's another great thing too, that even if, while the students are, working for you, maybe it's only 4 hours a week, that's okay. The students are getting that work experience. They're getting the networking, they're getting a reference, something that, they wouldn't have when, if they didn't do the internship. But they're also getting credit as well. So that's huge for students.
Well, the network thing, I think, is way more important.
Way more.
I've had the opportunity to teach a couple classes here on networking, because the thing is people think that networking is either a computer thing or it's an old dead thing. It's and I'm old, but I'm not dead. But but the thing is I think it's a very, very important skill that a lot of people don't understand, is that, you really need to pay attention to your network. And I tell people this is like all the jobs I've gotten that I really, really liked, because I knew somebody, they either told me about a job or they referred me, or, somehow I felt, but it was all people that I knew, and I think that's a very important thing. And that's where I could see, like, you get in the door, you meet some people, and then maybe in a few years, it's, or even next week, it's like, hey, I heard about this great opportunity over here. We don't have a spot for you, but over here. And that's how you get those. And that's, for me, is like one of the key things to networking, is be nice to people.
Exactly. And I always tell the students, make sure you get a letter of recommendation after your internship. But I can even speak for myself, is once I was finished with my internship at the middle school, I now had 3 references in the field. I had the 2 counselors that I was working with and the principal. So when I started going up for jobs, because I worked retail myself while I was in college. And so for me, having a job that didn't require you to work on Saturday and Sunday was like something I couldn't even imagine. But so when I was going up for my jobs, it was great because I had references that were not in retail when I was going up, but something that was in a counseling type environment, and a letter of recommendation as well. So exactly. And you never know who you're going to, I know we can't hire you, but I know somebody else that is.
Right.
So
well,
that's
and
great.
Rachelle got the job because of somebody's table she was waiting on.
Right, which is an exception, not the rule. There are
Correct.
plenty of people out there.
And that's true. But again,
necessarily.
you just never know.
You really don't. And it's important, as you say, to be nice to people and to make sure that you're keeping yourself open to those types of situations, because something could walk through the door that you don't really expect, sometimes in a place you don't expect. And one thing I did also wanted to, kind of assure potential employers who are thinking about it or have been thinking about it, it's also not a placement issue. It's not, we don't send you, here's a student, enjoy. There's an interview process, which is huge as well for students, because a lot of them, especially if they're on the younger side, maybe they've just left high school, or even if they've been in a career forever and haven't had to go through that process again, I can say from experience, it changes roughly every 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And there's things that are asked of you that you're like, wow, I don't remember having to do all that, but here we are. Let's go ahead and prepare. So for employers, it's not a placement. It's an interview. You interview the candidates, make your selection, etc. So it's more on the side of being a job in that space where you still have that autonomy of it. Rather than, I guess I'll just wait to see whoever the school sends. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah. Well, I could see it also as if, I'm owning a business, as like the interview process is always different. And it just, and sometimes it's, I know as a person on the other side of it, of having interviewed for, that's always tough. But then the other side of it too, where you've got, 2 dozen candidates that you're looking at. Some it's just like, no. But then it's like, okay, now let's pare it down and like figuring that all out. And it gives the employer a chance to fine tune that a little bit to like see like, okay, these are good questions. These are things I still remember. And this is going back several decades. I remember an interview as a panel interview for a job, and I'm sitting there and they're asking questions, and I was prepared for all these questions. And then finally somebody asked me, goes, okay, so imagine that you have 2 bowls of M&Ms, and one is brown M&Ms and one's green M&Ms, and which ones are you going to eat first, and explain your process for that. And I was stunned. I still haven't figured out what the purpose of that question is. It doesn't matter. I think, and I've asked people, but the thing that struck me was that it's like I'm kind of like going, and from what I understand, they're still asking that question. Oh. So it's just I don't know what it tells. But again, I had to be on my feet enough to go, okay, well, I prefer Skittles, and and explain the whole thing. But still, it's like getting that tuning down on a process to where you can decide if you want that question or not. Which I still don't understand what the purpose of that is, but.
No, there's definitely a lot of questions out there that are pretty popular. I know one that was trending for a while was "Sell me this pen."
Yes.
It was the quickest way I found out I did not enjoy sales. But you're right. It's those skills of thinking on your feet and being able to, it's a fine line of singing your praises while not appearing too braggy or that you're showing off, but showing like, here's what I can do for you. Here are my skills, but still retaining humility. And those are skills that you build up over time. So the more things you interview for, if you try to interview for multiple internships, multiple jobs here and there, all you're doing, even if there isn't a job at the end of that, you are honing those skills on top of each other. And that every time you interview after that, you're better than the last time you were. Mm-hmm. So even just that, so just knowing for employers as well, of course, if you only have one internship, like I'd love to hire 12 of you. Unfortunately, I can only hire one. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. You are still giving our students an opportunity to interview and learn from something, especially because I always encourage them to go back and ask for feedback. You don't always get that, but sometimes when you do, and if you're open to receiving that, it gives you a building block to take for the next round.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the best things for us is that because we're working with industry and we're working with our students, we can probably get that type of information that maybe they might not be able to get on their own. Also, I would like to remind our students that as part of the interview, as part of the interview process and the whole job application is always have a cover letter. That's, and because I talk, when we talk to employers, I always say, well, what is it that you want from the students? I always ask that. And a lot of times they just want to know who the students are and why they want to work there. And a lot of times the question that stumps everybody is usually the first question that's on an interview. Tell us about yourself, or tell us, tell us about and a lot of times people think, and I've worked with dislocated workers. These are people that have been on jobs for like 15 years, exactly like Rachelle was saying, that now they're having to enter the workforce again. And, even students right out of high school, that question stumps everyone. And it's not that you were, a twinkle in your mom's eye when you were born. And that's that, you were born, and you kind of start from there. It's all about the job. And so I think, I try to tell everybody, just look at the job description and really hone in on what is it that they're looking for. So if you were to take like an admin assistant job, I think that administrative assistants are like amazing because they have to do not just the technical side, like, the computer systems and data entry. They also have to have the customer service side as well. And I have to say for IT help desk, they have to be technical as well and be customer service oriented. And a lot of times, you might have one or the other maybe, but, for those type of roles. And if you look at a job description, I could show you 2 different ones. One's like, please, one's more, yes, we want you to have Microsoft Excel experience, but they're really looking for someone to answer phones and greet people when they walk in. So they're mostly looking at customer service. The other one might be, I need you to have, data entry, all this computer. So kind of get like think of it as like common sense, like what is it that they're looking for? And that's the kind of skills that you bring. In that wonderful question, tell us about yourself. You just want to talk about your experience that relates to the job, because that's what employers, they don't want to hear about you as a, growing up at lifeguard. And they just want to hear about, oh, okay. So you can say, I'm currently a student at DVC and I'm studying to be this. My goal is to do this. I really am interested in this position because I saw I researched your company and I saw that you're doing this. And I think I'd be a great contributor. So you kind of just start with that, and I think a lot of times, these are things that we could help the students with, because we're giving, because a lot of times they don't know how to answer those questions. So whether we're working with students right out of high school or dislocated workers, everybody, could use a little help when it comes to job searching and your job application, especially if you're changing careers.
Well, and one of the things that I talk about when I talk about going to a mixer or networking, because it's therefore I hate networking, but I'm really good at it. And so, and a lot of it is just, oh God, and you get the guy standing on the corner who's sitting there and handing everybody their card. And it's like, don't be that person. But the other thing is understand how to answer the question. So why are you here? What brings you here? What are you doing? What is it you do? And I mean, some people have the opportunity to have really awesome opening, a elevator pitch, and I don't like elevator pitches, but they have that opportunity to have something that is a showstopper. There was a guy, I heard a story about somebody back in the 90s when SEO was still magic. And his thing is you sit down next to him and you go, so what do you do? And he goes, I crash websites. And so... Yeah, well, yeah. And it's like, okay, now you have my attention. And then he can explain what it is because you're engaged. It's not just, he doesn't explain to you that he does SEO because nobody cares. But if you say, I can, so again, it's like one of those things that have a good way to answer the question. It doesn't have to be super clever, but why are you here? That's a great thing to be able to answer is why are you here?
I mean, it would be great to have a copy of questions ahead of time, but most of the time that's not an option.
Yeah.
But,
well, again, it's the M&M question.
It's the M&M question. You can't always predict when you are going to get an M&M question or sell me this pen scenario.
Yes.
Or what kind of animal do you see yourself as? Which, yes. I have been fortunate enough to not get that particular question. I'm not sure how I would answer it, but now it's making me think about that. But the other side of things is and this is something our office and our program coordinators and our senior program coordinators can help with, is learning how to read job descriptions. As Teresa was saying, you see 2 job descriptions for the exact same job title, but one's leaning more this way, one's leaning more this way. And that's an invaluable tool that I wish I would have had in some of mine.
Yeah, no kidding.
When I'm looking at a job description and you see something that's got, it's a 27-word sentence and you're kind of, what is that? What are you asking if I can do? I've forgotten the first part of your statement as I've gotten to the end. I'm not sure what this is. And it's like, oh, no, they just want you to be really courteous.
Yes.
Sometimes in an effort to, sometimes I feel like some job descriptions are just weary or just want to caution against, I don't want to forget anything. So they put everything in it and it can be hard to sort through. And that's where we can help. It's like, well, this sounds like what they're asking for, or this is what I've seen in other circumstances. So again, it's just leaning on that for our community education, workforce development students, lean on us. Mm-hmm. That's why we're here, to help you get through those things. And as well, just to know that you're not alone. You don't have to figure this all out by yourself. Come use the resource, or, as I like to lovingly refer to them as cheat codes. We've gone through this before. Let us help you.
I think the overarching theme of anything at DVC is go use office days, and you guys have a whole ton of office days. I'm using air quotes for anybody not, able to see that. But again, so essentially you guys are an office full of office days, office hours. Just like, when you,
in meetings.
Yes. Well, yeah, but they don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
But it's, the idea being is that there's a ton of resources there for students and for employers to be able to use.
Yes. Exactly. And that's the thing is we're really trying to, be more aware on campus. We were trying to, really work with our departments and industry. But, faculty too, they are a great wealth of information because a lot, some of our adjunct, they are actually working in industry right now and kind of doing this, as part-time. And so you have your faculty, you have, the workforce development office, you have program coordinators who are there to go into the classrooms. You have, Rachelle and I were there to help you, connect with industry. So right now, if you are interested in an internship and you are in career education, you can come specifically to us and we can help you with that. We can, reach out to employers if you're having trouble. And so, if we have students that are motivated, it really does help us when we are talking to employers because employers want to work with students or create internships for students that are motivated and are really want to learn. And so it's great to kind of match our employers with our students who are, really wanting to learn. And basically, anybody on campus can do an internship. It doesn't have to be just because you are in your first year or your last year. If you are interested in an internship, come talk to us because, we don't want anybody to feel like they can't do it. I mean, if you're looking, to understand a different type of work or to see what the work culture is in a job or what you're studying, take advantage of it. I mean, you're a student and this is the best time to get that information because as someone who worked in social work, what I read in a book and what I saw when I went on a home visit and what I've seen is very different. It's just, it's both career education, it's classroom and real world.
Then there's the real world nuts and bolts where the rubber meets the road.
Yes, exactly. And, I'll just give you, I know we want to talk about some success stories, but we had last year we had a student that was going for a paid internship with one of our local employers. He did so well there, and they were so impressed with him that they decided to hire him on as a permanent employee and work with him, gave him full time, during the summer, and then worked with him on his schedule to really develop his career. So, and it could be even if you're looking to make a change or you want to see a different type of career path, that's wonderful. You just tell the employer, I'm looking to understand what's involved and they're going to do that for you. And I think that's what I really want to tell to the listeners, both for our students and also for employers that are listening, is that we're really here to connect, for both, we're here to bridge that gap for you.
So, not that we have an actual time limit, but let's talk a little bit about some successes. Some, give us a couple of good stories because everybody loves a story. You gave us one.
I gave us one. Yeah. I gave you two actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, we have, on our campus, not just do we have employers that we're looking at for internships, you also have special projects that are going on campus as well when we work with industry. So, we work with employers for, with our digital media program. We're really trying to work more with, we have some programs going with IBM, our IBM Skills Build, our Film Fund. We're always working to bring industry in. So we have different events on campus that we're promoting. We're really trying, we also do, the panel discussions where we're really going to be trying to work more with our student centers as well to bring in employers. So there's so many things that are going going around on campus, but, for our students, for the successes that we've had, it's that we are trying and we are building that skill set for those students. Maybe they might not get hired like the other student did, but it's giving them the tools that they need to have when they start looking for employment, because the community college, it's changing, because a lot of times people think, oh, you're going to go to the community college for 2 years and then transfer, to UC Berkeley or go to another school. No, that's not what community college is just about now. It's also about getting those 2-year or under programs so that we can prepare you for employment. And so, we have, with the internships that we did last year, because we had a program that allowed us to fund the internships, but, we don't have that grant right now. But did help us to develop even more relationships with our employers. And now they might be even having their own internships because they saw how valuable it was. And so, for the students that I had, they were doing like climate. It was like doing research on our campus for environmental causes. We had a grant that was trying to reduce like waste reduction, and so they were part of that research process. They were doing computers, marketing, like Rachelle was talking about. A lot of our employers came to us because they're like, "Oh my God, we need some marketing. We need someone to help us with social media marketing." And we're trying to reach out to students. And so what great place than to students, right? And so there's so many successes that we've had because we're just giving students that opportunity that they didn't have before. And now they have it. So when they start looking for employment, they have, their references, they have their work experience. And, we're so glad that we can do that for our students. And now that they're alumni, a lot of them are coming back and they're wanting to also be mentors and to and give students that same experience that they had an opportunity.
Tell us a story, Rachelle. Mommy, tell me a story.
Oh my goodness. I wish I had some better stories.
Well, you just got started here.
I did just get started. Unfortunately, I have only been here a whopping 2 months.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So the closest thing that that I have to a success story is the growth of one of our internship programs, actually.
Yes. Talk about that, please.
So we have partnered with the Film Fund is what we've been referring to it as. And what it does is it gives our digital media students an opportunity to actually work on being part of film projects and other things throughout. And so last year, from what I gathered, Teresa had the honor of overseeing things last year. And so for this year, it's now mine. And they started out with 6 students. The program has grown to 14.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It has grown so much, and some of them are returning interns, which was amazing. And so just going through that and getting all these students pushed through. And again, it's just, I really want to emphasize that internships are not necessarily for that, the 19, 20-year-old who's like, I don't really know. No, we had people all ages in that group. I had a lady in her 50s. I had some of the students that were in their early 20s, some of them that were clearly there to try to, switch roles or build skill, etc. And so we had this wide variety, and it was so wonderful to see, because I know it can be disheartening when you've been doing something for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and either you've reached your end, like this isn't working for you anymore, or the industry is changing in a way that you potentially can't follow or don't want to follow. It is so disheartening to look at that, but to know that there are other opportunities to be reskilled that don't necessarily take a ton of time. Not everybody's got a ton of time to go back and I guess I'll go get another bachelor's degree. No. Not necessarily need to do that, but to go back and try to find something that's a little bit more streamlined and a little bit more available to get you back in, because I never want to negate someone's past experience. Let's bring all of you to the forefront, even with new skills that you have just acquired.
Cool.
And I would also like to add that for our advisory boards, I cannot tell you how some of our advisory board members were, actually became faculty here at DVC.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Some of them, adjunct, but they just enjoyed like being part of that process where they were changing our curriculum and really being able to reach the students. And so not just from the student side, but also from the employer side as well. So it even gave our advisory board members a chance to even be part of the DVC community as well.
Well, and I think it can be said safely that DVC really is a community college with the emphasis on community. It's not a junior college. It's a community college because I know we have the traditional educational tracks. We also have a ton of other certificate programs, like you're talking about, before about certificate programs and this and that. And I mean, there's a career tracks that are available here at DVC that I think are you're not going to necessarily get that going to UC Berkeley. You're going to get a spectacular education there, but you're not necessarily going to get the certificate you need to be able to change your career slightly or advance in your career.
100%. And honestly, it really depends what you want to do. If your new passion in life is, I want to get a doctorate in physics so I can understand how the universe works, fantastic. Go for it. You got that. That's amazing. Incredible. Go for it. There's so many other pathways to fulfilling, gainful careers and employment, what have you. I mean, how many of us have started out with a job that we thought, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll be here a year or so, and now it's part of your career. Now it started this whole trajectory you weren't even considering before you found something that was amazing. And one of the other programs I wanted to talk about are something that I think it's enough credit, are non-credit courses, not to put a pun on it, but just to get those absolutely free courses in order to upskill so that you're not necessarily, you don't feel that you are compelled to, finish maybe a whole certificate or a whole degree. You can get some targeted skills into something that you need that you can then take with you. Where the Administration of Justice is launching 4 non-credit courses right now to help people understand how to put together a good public safety application. For anybody out there that has ever attempted or looked into potentially joining public safety, it's fair to say there's a few steps. It's fair to say that it can be a bit of a long process, and it's for some, it can be easy to get lost in. So our wonderful Administration of Justice Department put together these 4 classes. They're 4 weeks long. They don't happen one right after the other. Some of them actually overlap a little bit. And at the end of it, they help you work on your oral interview skills. They help you working on putting out your personal background statement. They help you on, because some of them have fitness requirements. Yep. What are they looking for? Oh my goodness, all these things just to help someone to get through some of that guesswork. And it's all free. So at the end of anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks, depending on how many courses you want to sign up for, you can put together a solid application to get into public safety, which if you're not fully aware, that can be police, that can be EMT.
Could be dispatch.
It could be dispatch.
Yeah.
It could be just those public safety types of jobs that can be amazing career starters. They all come with, really good benefits, et cetera. And they're great ones. The hiring bonuses. I cannot tell you how many billboards we see with hiring bonuses.
Yep. Well, it's an area that they need lots and lots and lots of people. So
exactly. So, and I mean, I know for me, just as a high school student going through even just the college application process, one of my very dear friends was kind enough to actually sit through it with me because I didn't have anybody else to do that. And what a huge difference it made.
Yeah.
Now, while they won't sit with you while you fill out your application, they will at least talk with you about, industry experts and things to let you know more or less what they're looking for, similar to the services that workforce development already provides. Let's help you build up your resume. Let's help you build up what it is that they're, your answers to things like that ominous question. So what are you doing here?
So why do you want to work here?
Why do you want to work here?
Yeah. Maybe that'll be the name of this particular episode. Why do you want to work here?
Why do you want to work here?
Yeah. So we're kind of running up, not really, but it's like anything over an hour is probably. But let's kind of bring it all back to the end. So give me like a 1 or 2 chunks of wisdom for the employment community out there. Then we'll talk about how to get a hold of you guys, what the best way to get a hold of you. And then, like I said, anything that we want to, we'll drop in the show notes at the bottom, like flyers and stuff like that. So let's start with, 1 or 2 words of wisdom.
Let's see, words of wisdom. So words of wisdom would be find your passion. And if you don't know what your passion is, maybe do the power of an internship and maybe explore some other, avenues that you didn't even know about before.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, you can take these certificate classes, and, maybe if you're still, you don't really know, you want to try something new, because these courses are 1 year or less.
Yeah.
And so that's what, we're here to do those 1 year, 2 year programs to get you back to work. But just to kind of bring it back to the internships, take advantage of those opportunities, because that, those internships are priceless. They're priceless. And so that, career education, it's made of, not like we were talking, not just in the classroom, but, also, the real world experience. And for our industry, we are always looking to partner with you. When I talk to an employer, it's always, what's the vision? How do you want to work with us? So I don't really need to sell anything, because DVC basically sells itself, because it's a great school. It's just, I need to know, how do you want to partner with us? And there's so many different ways. It's not just about internships, but it could be other ways that you could help our students as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the best way to contact us is, there's 2 different ways. We do have an email account that you can reach out to for general inquiries, and we are pretty quick at responding, actually. It is dvccareered@dvc.edu.
Oh, thank you so much for having an easy one. So I know education emails tend
We
to be.
fought for that.
Yeah, some of them are like Bob J. Esquire 2813, and so yes, thank you. So.
No problem at all. We'll also provide it at the end of the show
Yes.
notes so that
Yeah.
people can reach out to us. And then if you want to see a little bit what we're about and what we're up to, you can always go to dvc.edu and search career education specifically. And you can find us online and the different things that you can do, especially if you're an employer that's looking to post on Handshake for internships or jobs, etc. That's also a good place to find out how to do that as well.
Yes. And I think I'm going to have to hunt down the Handshake folks and have them do a podcast, because I know, Teresa, you and I talked about that. So we're going to definitely have to do one of those. So.
Oh, they're fantastic. They're so dedicated.
Yeah.
They're going to be more than happy.
All righty. Well, I want to thank you. Oh, you wanted to say something, Teresa? Oh, I wanted to thank you both so much for coming here. I know we've got about 28 other topics we're going to have to get together for again, which is okay. So, and
We're happy to do it.
yes. All right. Thanks a lot. And we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. The official podcast of the Diablo Valley College Alumni Association, celebrating 75 years of DVC's incredible impact on education, careers, and community. We hope today's episode gave you valuable insights into the journeys of our alumni and the powerful resources available at DVC. Don't forget to join us every Tuesday for inspiring alumni stories, and on Resource Thursdays, where we spotlight DVC's departments and services, showing you how they're shaping student success. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries and exploring the connections that make DVC's legacy so special. And remember, DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next.